There is something infinitely healing in the repeated refrains of nature. A quote from Rachel Carson's Silent Spring that focused on bird declines and the loss of their beautiful songs. I'm here to talk about another declining animal that is one of the most imperiled taxa worldwide and has beautiful songs of their own. Frogs, and specifically how climate change may be affecting them. Now, frogs, like many amphibians, rely on water to develop from tadpoles into little miniature frogs. But relying on a pool of water that may dry up during this development period puts a lot of pressure on tadpoles to grow as quickly as possible and escape the breeding pool before they die. But growing quickly comes at the cost of being a smaller sized frog at metamorphosis. But what does that mean down the line? Do small frogs coming from fast-drying ponds survive as well as large frogs from slow-drying ponds? To answer this question, I raised wood frog tadpoles in fast-drying and slow-drying ponds. And we did find this obvious size difference between the two. We then took those frogs and put them into habitat enclosures we built to see how well they were surviving over time. And what we found was a little surprising. Those small frogs from the fast-drying ponds were growing and surviving just as well as the large frogs from the slow-drying ponds, which means there didn't seem to be a fitness cost associated with being a smaller size, which is a good thing, right? But our habitat enclosures mimicked cool and moist, ideal conditions that these frogs should do really well in. So a more important question then is, how would these frogs do in unideal, hot and dry conditions? Conditions projected to occur as a result of climate change in many areas. It's also important to note that just because of their size, these smaller frogs may not be able to move as far or fast across the landscape as the larger frogs, which could be problematic if the habitat that is directly surrounding those breeding pools is hot and dry, conditions that are even more lethal if you're a smaller size. Now, the fact is, climate change is happening, and it poses a real threat to frogs and other amphibians. While they're adapted to withstand pretty harsh conditions, they can only tolerate so much. How well they cope in this changing world will depend on how we manage those breeding pools and that critical habitat that surrounds them. Take it as a lesson from Rachel Carson. We don't want a silent spring for frogs too. Thank you.